we play the waiting game.
So that is right, I am doing a part 3 to 5 things I don't want to see return in Battlefront 2 because these videos are just doing so well at the moment. They're doing better than anything else I'm uploading. And let's be honest, I want to put out content that, how to say this, people will enjoy, I suppose. So prepare your dislike buttons because we are about to get into the first thing I don't want to see return in Battlefront 2, and that is the terrible loading time from the current Battlefront. Now I don't know about PC, but on console, on the Xbox One and on PS4, it can take a while to get into games sometimes. There's even been times where I've been in a loading screen for ages trying to get into a game, and then it just doesn't load at all and I have to restart Battlefront. Now before a lot of you start saying I'm an impatient person, I'm not. I don't want to play this game most of the time to be honest, but when I do, I'd like to find a game in a good amount of time. With each DLC that got added, the loading time took a bit longer, which I suppose is acceptable, but I'd just like to see things move a bit faster in the next Battlefront. Okay, so next up we have the Bespin Wingguards, and ever since this skin was added in the Bespin DLC, I was so confused. Now the Bespin Wingguards are obviously an unlockable skin for the Rebels, but they're not Rebels themselves. It doesn't really make much sense to me. Now my point here is that I don't want to see the Bespin Wingguards return in Battlefront 2 as skins, but they can be in the next game, believe it or not, and here's how. So on the Imperial team, the Emperor has his Royal Guards, and then Krennic has his Death Troopers, and then on the Rebel team, Leia has her Honor Guards, and that's about it. I'm thinking it would have been great if Lando could have had some guards that spawn in and they could have been the Bespin Wingguards. That would have made it even for both teams as well. This is something that can be fixed very easily. We don't want to see Bespin Wingguards return as Rebel skins in the next game, as I've said, because they're not Rebels. They work on the planet Bespin, which leads me on to my next point. Now next up we have different skins / troopers on different planets. Now this is something I just can't get my head around. For example, the snow troopers off the current Battlefront can only be played as on Hoth. But then for some reason you can have Bespin Wingguards on Tatooine, you can have shore troopers on Endor. It just really doesn't make any sense to me. Like 1 minute EA are keeping to the Star Wars canon and the next minute they're just going completely away from it. Now I'm okay with cross-era heroes in the next game, but imagine if it got to the point where you were having snow troopers on Naboo, shore troopers on Kamino. It would be a bit confusing indeed, and they really need to fix this for the next game. Keep specific troopers to their assigned planets, don't start mixing it up because people then start asking the question. For example, at the moment people are saying why can't we have Anakin in Battlefront 2? So if you can't have Anakin and Vader in Battlefront 2 apparently, why can you then have a shore trooper on Bespin? I don't get it. Now if the haters still haven't clicked the dislike button, I think they're going to go ahead and do it now, because next up we have Chewbacca. I know there's been some apparent ability leaks about Chewbacca, but I'm not going to be paying attention to any of those until the details are confirmed. Now whether it's his ground slam, his armor, the amount of bolts he can fire at once, Chewbacca is just very overpowered. The fact that he can take down Sith Lords such as Vader and the Emperor is quite concerning. Now there aren't many counters to Chewbacca, to be honest. I mean, people say they can take him down with Bossk, which I do sometimes. I think the best counter to him is definitely Boba Fett's flamethrower. I get it, Chewbacca has to be strong, he's a Wookiee, it makes sense, but he's just a bit too overpowered in the current Battlefront, and as I've said, if this isn't fixed, if Chewbacca comes back into Battlefront 2 this overpowered, then I just don't want him added to the game. Let's move on to the final point. Now to conclude this list, we have the R5-D4 droid, in my opinion the most annoying pickup on the game. I don't think this droid is talked about enough, but it really just bugs me that this minor character from episode 4 is allowed to be spawned into multiple games and do this amount of damage. Battlefront 1 was supposed to be this really immersive Star Wars game, but when you have these droids just randomly taking down heroes or killing soldiers instantly, it's quite concerning indeed. I never really remember seeing these R5-D4 droids in any of the original trilogy, apart from A New Hope obviously, where he made a brief appearance on Tatooine, but the Rebels never really used these droids, so whose idea was it to add them into the game? That's my question. I mean, if the team over at DICE insists that they do want to see these droids in the game, just don't make them as good at least. Overall, if we have no rapid firing astromech droids in Battlefront 2, then I'll be pretty happy. But there we have it, boys and girls, part 3 of 5 things I don't want to see return in Battlefront 2 complete. And yes, there will be a part 4, maybe even a part 5, it depends if it keeps bringing in them views. Make sure you give this video a like if you enjoyed, and if you're just one of those people that doesn't agree with anything I say, which there's a lot of you to be fair, remember to smash that dislike button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next video.